So, Oscar, I want to start off by saying Ex Machina, one of my favorite films, man. That was, your role on that was just so sick.
Thank you.
And then Chris,
Agreed.
I've loved all your movies from American Pie all the way to Rogue One. And then this one's just completely different. Is that what attracted you to this project?
Yeah, I mean, I usually try to do something different from the last time because I get kind of exhausted every time I make a movie. I never want to make the same one twice. You know, I kind of grown up with this stuff because my dad was a veteran and as well as being a refugee. This kind of stuff was like the stuff that I talked about with my father all through my childhood.
Chris, our director, his father was in the Holocaust, and he read to us a letter that his father wrote to his mother about what happened over there. And I remember when he read it, I felt like I was chilled. I was like, wow, we're doing an important movie.
Yeah, I didn't bring it up with him, but I did read that his father was part of one of the plots to assassinate Hitler, which I thought was incredible.
Yeah, his father, Chris Weitz's father, John Weiss, it's a really amazing man who did a lot of, he was a German Jew who was a refugee in the US and then came back to Germany and oftentimes working undercover as a German POW. And it's quite, so Chris brought all of that to the film.
So this film was a roller coaster of emotion for me. It started off like with anger, sorrow. I did have hate, but in the end, it did have like a redeeming quality to it.
Awesome.
What attracted you to the project?
I think it was what you're describing, just all of the psychological landmines that was this operation for the people that were entrusted to capture him, to identify him, capture him, and extract him and bring him back. It's just remarkable what they were able to do, and particularly what happened between Peter Malkin and Eichmann, that dialogue that occurred. The intimate relation, the grotesquely intimate relationship that had to come about. That was definitely Malkin's strategy, but his strategy involved him laying himself open to this mass murderer, and so that was just such an exciting challenge as an actor.
While we were shooting, we had Sir Ben Kingsley. There is Eichmann. And all of a sudden, we're in this interrogation scene, and you had a feeling of like, oh wow, like this is a very intense moment. And if you were one of these people who had been so directly affected by the Holocaust, to then have one of the most important men at the center of organizing the Holocaust, to be in a room with him, it was incredibly powerful.
It was instantly recognizable to me as my personal tribute to Elie Wiesel, and I could commit my performance to the loss of the 6 million and dedicate my energies to them, because the script, in terms of reflecting those terrible patterns of human behavior, was to me accurate, having known and learned a great deal about the Holocaust through my work in other films, as you probably know.
So did y'all guys work with Mossad or any of the guys that were involved?
we had an advisor on set who was an ex-Mossad agent, Avner Abraham, and he was there not only to tell us how the Mossad would behave, but all kinds of other things that he thought we were doing wrong. So we were able to fix it. We had Krav Maga advisors too. This was a pretty heavily researched film.
Your history, going back to the Israeli Special Forces, how did that prepare you to become an actor?
I used to be in kind of an undercover unit. So to be an undercover soldier, you have to be an amazing actor. You have to act for your life. You know, it's not just you don't have takes. You don't have second takes. So I used to play for my life. You know, so this is how it's prepared me to be an actor. I think
The stakes were a little higher.
Yeah, a little.
How did you prepare for the role? Did you go back and watch the trial that occurred, or?
You know, I didn't. My preparation was probably in my DNA before I read the script, because I worked with and for Simon Wiesenthal to portray him. I worked with Miep Gies and friends of Anne Frank to portray her father. And of course, I worked with Schindler List survivors on Stephen's great film. So from the perspective of the victim, who should always have the last word, I knew exactly what that man had done. It's unfathomable, unimaginable, and there's no research that can give you that information. You have to experience it through massive empathy, and I was able to on those film sets.
Do you think he ever felt any remorse?
I know he didn't.
He didn't at all.
I know that for a fact. He said, "I will leap laughing into my grave, knowing that I've taken the souls of 6 million with me." It's a quote.
Why is it important for all communities to see this film?
Well, I think this film speaks to what happened then, but it still is relevant to things now. In our country and around the world, there's still hatred and there's still genocide happening every day around the world. And I think it also talks about, I think underlyingly about that all of the people involved in these things, Adolf Eichmann was a man. He was a human being with a family and love. It doesn't excuse what he did, but you realize there's humanity in all of it, and how we decide to treat that is a testament to who we are.
Part of the strength of the film, to me, is that it expresses that Nazi Germany wasn't a unique phenomenon, that we can all tend this way anytime people want to exploit other people's hatred and fear of the other in order to gain political power, and where that leads to eventually. Unfortunately, I think that with what's happening in the world today, the sort of shift towards authoritarianism and racism and nationalism, it's a perennial subject.
I want to talk about the importance of cinema and how cinema can help prevent this from occurring again.
Well, I think that our only aspiration for any good film or play or work of art or event is that the audience will have thoughts that they would not have had they not seen the film. That's all we can hope for. New thoughts, new doors opening.